Welcome to the Incredible Film Slice review by the Incredible Film Slice crew, where we tackle the big topics, the black, the grey, and the violet. We are morally elastic here, so let's dash right into this. See what I did there, boys?
Yes, and we will wonder the people with our flashy and our super Aquaman.
Frozone! Hey team, Angus Strachan here, and welcome to the Film Slice podcast. I'm here as always with my co-host Kane Diggly Wiggly Kane Dogs.
Ew.
And Bro Dilly Doo Broadman Richards.
Hello.
What is up, gentlemen? Today we are reviewing...
Oh, you didn't even let us answer.
No, you were too slow. Today we're reviewing The Incredibles. Kane Dogs, hit us up with our IMDb summary.
Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, is left to care for Jack Jack while Helen, Elastigirl, is out saving the world.
Cool, let's kick things off, Kane Dogs, starting with you. When did you see it and what did you think?
When did you see the movie? What did you think? Do you like the movie? None of the shit.
I saw it Thursday night, so the night it came out, with the GF, and loved it. And that's with 13 years of hype. Oh, God.
That didn't work at all. I could hear that quite clearly.
So Angus is sick.
I'm very sick.
And
But I'm soldiering on like all good podcast MCs
Like someone
do.
who doesn't care at all about man Brody's health or immune systems.
Or mine.
Or his own.
I'm far enough away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I'm more or less next to him. Anyway,
Yeah.
loved it.
Nice one.
Perfect.
Broadman, when did you see the movie? What'd you think?
I went and saw it yesterday with Devon. We went to Wool World and we called this one a nice afternoon sesh.
Does Wool World have a cinema?
Yeah, of course it does.
Oh, nice one.
Is this going to be a running gag now? Oh, God.
It wasn't for me. Didn't enjoy it. But boy, was it pretty.
Have you seen the first one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you like the first one?
I did when I saw it when
When we were
it
11?
was 2004.
Yeah.
And now,
Not so
I'm
much.
kind of whatever about it.
Fair enough.
I still love it. I watched it last week and it was fantastic.
When did you see the movie and what did you do, Dang?
I saw the movie last night and I thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Definitely worth the wait. All right, lads, you know how every week I put up on Instagram and now Twitter what film we're reviewing.
I do know.
Oh, that's good. Ask our Slicey Slicers what they thought of the film so we can chuck it in the podcast.
Yep.
And no one writes back?
No one writes back. Well, we got a few this time. Quite a lengthy one. From Ethan G. Dean.
Ooh.
He said, I went to see it Thursday night at 6:15 and there was only 2 kids from one family in the theatre. Everyone else was in their 20s. Awesome movie considering it's a Pixar sequel because they're notoriously shitty. Little too much, not so subtle. Look how progressive we are. Aren't women great? Posturing for my taste. I'm fine with those themes if they can stand on their own 2 feet, but not when you have to spoon feed them to the audience. I know it's a kids movie, but the parts that focused on this stuff weren't for kids. Voice acting on Bob and Helen was a bit jarring as well, but other than that, I enjoyed the movie a great deal and kind of want to play the Lego game for some reason.
The Lego game looks really good. I don't know if you guys got that trailer. It
Yeah,
looked really fun.
I saw the picture for it.
Yeah.
Nice one. We also got from...
Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you, Ethan.
Yep. We appreciate it.
And we also got the real rant. Oh, we know this one because on Instagram I put up like a little silhouette and you have to guess what it is before you swipe right.
I'm aware.
We know this one, though find it hard to believe you could have a conversation with Jack Jack. If you guys want to have a look at the picture that I put up that they're referring to, make sure you head over.
Check our Instagram.
That's it, bro, man. Make sure you head over to Instagram
And
at Film
not-
Slice Pod, and you can follow Twitter if you want. You know what? Go for it.
Are we on Twitter anymore? Am I allowed to
We
say
are on
that?
Twitter, yeah. On Twitter, this is from at No Guilt Life. They say, saw it, loved it. Felt it was a great sequel with heart, action, so much humor. Pixar did it again. There you go. That's from...
I don't know if they did it
at
again.
No
I feel
Guilt
like
Life.
they did it for the first time ever.
What do you mean they did it for the first time?
I
This
guess-
is...
What do you mean?
This is a sequel.
This is a sequel. They literally did
They
it
literally
again.
didn't... Yeah.
I was thinking in terms of good sequels that they've done. Has Disney done any good sequels, not including live action?
The Toy Story ones are pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah, it's true. I was just like,
Toy
Cars 2
Story.
was balls, but yeah, no, Toy Story is pretty good.
Finding Dory, got really good
That was
reviews
good,
as well.
actually. I watched that one.
Kind of stuff. But
Brody's never seen any of these, but yeah.
I do agree, especially
Why
the
would I watch the
Cars
second one if I didn't
franchise.
like the first one?
The Cars franchise is horrible.
yeah.
The first one was fine.
And then Planes,
Then
yeah.
Cars 2, Cars 3, and Planes and
Can't wait till they do boats,
Trains.
trains.
Yeah, not good.
I'm looking forward to push bikes.
Hot air balloons.
But yeah, that's what our Slicey Slices had to say.
Well, thanks for writing in, Bakery.
Cheers.
Let's move on to our next segment. Broadman, we'll start with you. Not that one. We just did that one. Would you recommend it, and who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend this to anyone that still likes the first one. And the way I
Still
phrased
likes.
it like that is because
Yeah.
like you may have liked the first one back like 20 odd years ago or whatever, but then now you might think differently, like me. But I think this is about 10 years too late.
10 years too late.
Yep, I think the entire story is 10 years too late, and this film is like literally like 14 years too late.
That is...
I think that
Yeah.
the story of this felt dated to me. It was like, oh, we're gonna watch the woman in the family, she has to go out and save the world. It was like, while
that
the
is
man
true.
has to stay home and take care of the kids. What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
It was,
Well, I haven't seen that
It was
before.
like, what?
I think the problem also too with this coming out so late is that the kids going into watching this now, they probably haven't seen like the first one.
You know what?
Like they probably wouldn't have.
I disagree with that.
Wouldn't have seen
I reckon any parent wants all their kids to watch every Disney.
You know what?
film
I thought that too.
But Disney's hypnotizing the parents.
However, I asked a bunch of kids. I work at a school, it's not weird. And none of them have
You just
heard of...
hung outside a school.
I just hung
to
outside
talk
of
to
school.
kids.
No, I asked a lot of kids where I work
Yeah.
if they've heard of The Incredibles, and none of them had. And
Oh,
that was
interesting.
within the week that Incredibles 2 came out. So not only had they not heard of the first one, they hadn't even
Yeah.
seen trailer. I remember
Which-
when the first Incredibles film came out, I was psyched for like 2 months before it came out because the trailers got me excited.
Yeah.
And I'm asking, kids that
Well,
were
go-
our
yeah.
age,
Kids don't
none-
need to watch trailers. They're playing Fortnite.
That's it.
they really are. That's all they're talking about.
Yeah. Would you recommend this film? Who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend this film, as you said, Brody, to anybody who enjoyed the first one. It's hard to recommend this to someone who hasn't seen the first one. And I'm not even sure if you're going to bring kids to this, make sure they're sort of at least 10-ish. I think younger than that, it has high potential to actually be scary.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
little girl
Some-
behind
some-
me was scared during this.
There are some deep themes that are loosely touched on, but it lingers just enough that it can be a bit chilling for someone young. So
Totally agree, Cane Dogs. If you've seen this one before, you've obviously got a bit of nostalgia towards the film. I guess if
Absolutely.
you enjoyed it, so it is a bit of a nostalgia trip. I do think it like the storylines and the characters might get a bit lost if you start off watching this one first.
yeah,
Definitely feel like you need to kind of preempt yourself. I think, all in all, I really enjoyed this
No, me
film.
too.
I thought
Loved
it was good, it was quirky, it was fun, and it was reminiscent of the first one
they
very much
handled
so.
it. They handled it well, and I
Yeah.
think if I were to predict some of the things that I wanted to see in a new film, they hit a lot of those.
Definitely, yeah.
This film is set directly after the first one. That's in the trailer. I've always sort of wanted, since they waited this, like if it was 3 years after the first one, I'd be happy for it to be directly after. I was kind of thinking, since it's this late, maybe they're planning on doing it, but they're planning on showing us like Grown Up Dash and Grown Up Violet and all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed that we don't get that.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I think they hit this one at the park for me.
There was, because I saw it with a friend, and she said it was a bit jarring with the difference of animation.
Yeah,
because
it's upgraded a lot.
Yeah, it's like it's the same style, but a few of the characters, especially like I
very
think
pretty.
Elastigirl, was
man, she
quite
was
different.
hot. I'm not afraid to say it.
You should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like some of the animation was a bit different and a bit jarring, so I feel like that might come through if you're going on like a Pixar bender on the weekend once it comes out on DVD.
It was
from
weird
one to
because the
another.
first one, the animation is detailed enough that you can, like, you know, it's the animation
It's
of
a
that
cartoon,
age.
but
At the
it's-
same time, it leaves, like, you sort of paint your own image of filling in some of the gaps that the detail doesn't hit in the first film.
Yeah.
And in this one, there's much more detail, and some of it doesn't line up with what my brain had sort of painted characters to be.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that kept drawing my eye was Mr. Incredible's hair.
Yeah.
He's got like this weird sort of Superman-y fringy thing going on at the front that's slightly different in the first one, and it's really detailed in this one, but I kept looking at it and being like, doesn't feel right.
That's not right.
Doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
The Fringe or the movie?
I was actually quite a big fan of The Fringe.
Oh, really? This is one of the key points in the
my
film.
favourite thing.
I like to think that Brody goes into a movie with a checklist of things, and on this one, all it was the word fringe with a box. And halfway through, he just ticked it.
Now
and
that you've
walked
said
out.
that, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to come up with some random thing.
Fringe,
like
question
a blue
mark?
tennis racket. It had one. And, I'm going to do that now.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I didn't like it.
All right.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's move on into spoilers.
All right.
Sexy spoy. Oh, what a cool sound effect, Angus.
Awesome. All right, we are now in the spoiler zone where we dissect and divulge the whole film. Cane Dogs, starting with you, the most positive thing about the film.
I've put zero thought into this.
Cool.
Hold
Broadman, the most positive thing.
on, do you want to
I've-
do cinema dick? Do you want to cinema dick?
Oh, should we? Yeah, okay, let's do cinema dick. My cinema was packed full of kids.
In a children's movie?
And there
What
was-
is this world coming to, Angus? I ask
Right?
you.
Right?
I ask you.
No, it was packed full of kids, and like that was fine. Like I didn't really mind, but they were all kind of egging each other on. There was one family in particular where like this, I feel sorry for the mum, but the mum had at least 5 kids plus like a few friends from the
Like,
kids or something.
probably a
And it
birthday
was,
party or something.
Yeah, and it was just her trying to tame them. And I don't know if like it's a thing around the world that kids do in cinemas, but they go up the front and then just run laps.
Around? Yeah.
They just run laps back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for the whole film, doing cartwheels and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, great. Like you could, that's good, but we're also watching a movie. That was my cinema deck.
I saw 2 movies this week. One we're reviewing and one we're not. The cinema dicks are in the one we're not reviewing. I won't go into it. However, it was hardcore cinema dicks.
Yeah, right. Like
Take us away, John.
XXX.
Okay, right. So
Paint us a word picture.
No. There was like probably 10 or more, probably 16 to 17-year-olds. Like
the worst kind of cinema dick.
The worst kind of human. And 2 of them had laser pointers. And they kept throwing popcorn, like, from the back to where they're sitting. One of them FaceTimed their friend in the middle of the film. And it was like, hey, what are you doing? No, we're in a movie. Oh, why are you FaceTiming me? Oh, just like, to tell you we're in a movie. It's kind of boring, so I just thought I'd give you a FaceTime. Oh, yeah, cool, man. Do you want to come out and, like, get some KFC? No, like, I'm with a group of friends, so we're going to see the movie, and then maybe we'll meet. And it was that for the whole film. Like,
Yeah.
they gave zero shits, and because there was that large a group of them, it's not like they're going to be peer pressured by other people making eye contact at them.
Yeah.
So, for the whole of that film...
Is there a like a group word for cinema dick? You know how you've got like a flock of geese? Do you have a flock?
Yeah, a
of,
flock of
a
dicks.
flock of dicks.
A bag.
Yes.
There was
There was
an
a
entire...
whole bag of
There
cinema
was a
dicks.
herd of dicks in my cinema.
A murder.
Broadman.
Murder.
A murder of dicks.
This week on Cinema Dick for me.
Yep.
So I'm okay. Kids film. I was like, I'm gonna go in. There's gonna be kids. I'm
Yeah.
expecting that.
I was expecting
It's
that.
inevitable.
I'm fine with it. If you go to a kids film, you
Yeah.
got to expect there to be kids.
I'm totally expecting
yeah.
that. It's like they're gonna run around at the front because kids always run around at the front.
Yep.
Yep.
It's just something in their
Expecting
nature. They're just brought up to do it. Like
They refuse to sit down. There's a large open space. There's not a teacher there to tell them to sit down. They'll do whatever they want.
that. And a bunch of the kids are probably with some other kid's parent,
Yeah.
right? Or it's where it's like one parent drew the short straw, and so I was like
Karen.
totally expecting that. And like a couple of kids got scared, and I completely understand if a parent has to talk to their kid during a film, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But when you let your kid wear their light up shoes in a cinema,
Yeah.
and they sit there with their feet on top of the chair in front of them, and the shoes are just blinking, and these aren't like dim light up shoes.
Yeah, no, I've
these
seen
are
them.
the brightest LEDs
Yeah.
I've
I've got a
ever
pair.
seen.
I mean, what?
And they flash
Yeah.
different colors. it was the most annoying thing. A couple of people sitting 1 or 2 rows behind me, probably in their 50s or 60s, whether they were with their kids or with their kids' kids or whatever, no idea. But they decided that it would make sense for them to comment on everything that happened in the film. So they would sit there. So there's lights flashing off to my right, and there's kids running around the front.
Clowns to the left
and
of
there's
you,
people
jokers
behind
to the
me
right.
just chatting away. And there's a guy that...
People behind you going, man, that fringe looks a bit off.
Or it's just people going, that was well done. I really liked that.
I'm starting to think maybe Brody doesn't like this film because he didn't see much of it.
He doesn't like the film because of the audience.
No, it was a shit film as well. But man, that audience.
Well, speaking of the film, maybe we should get back into it.
Yeah. I think we're
Kane
up
Dobbs,
here.
most positive bit.
My most positive bit would be the inclusion of other superheroes. I really like in the first film there's small mentions of like
Dino Guy,
and all of that. When
Thunderhead, or
all
whatever
those.
it is. Yeah,
And I like the idea of there being other superheroes in the world, and the only one we really get to see is Frozone. So I really liked seeing some other superheroes in this, but more so, I really liked the inclusion of different powers as well. Like they weren't like.
And new superheroes, because like they did
new superheroes, and also superheroes with interesting powers that weren't used terribly.
Like super strength.
No, I really liked Void. The chick in there called Void. Really liked her.
Plays Portal a lot.
I really like there's a character, and he's sort of a joke character, but his character is Crush, and his whole power is just that he can crush things. And someone says, "Why don't you uncrush things?"
At
and
the
he's
very
like,
end, Mr.
and he
Incredible's
questions his existence.
You're like, has anyone ever asked you to unpunch something?
Yeah.
It's
that was great.
Awesome. But no, I really like the inclusion of other superheroes in this.
Broadman, you're most positive, even though you didn't have a lot
my
of
most positive part of this film.
Brett is like the end credits.
the fringe.
Ooh, close. Bao, the lovely animated short at the beginning of this film.
Yeah, see,
So good.
when I first came in, I totally forgot that Pixar do their short stories at the start of every film.
It was so beautiful, and the animation looked so good. And those little dumplings, it was just like, whoa,
they looked so good.
So nice.
You know what?
I'll never eat one ever again after watching that film.
Yeah.
No. Disagree. After watching this film, me and my girlfriend went and got Chinese, and I got dumplings because they just looked so delicious. I spent the whole film thinking about dumplings, so we went straight to a China store and I got dumplings.
It was a very heavy hitting short film though as well.
Yeah,
like that was one of the point where I was like, is this alright for kids to be watching? Because like the dumpling runs away.
Where she just eats him.
The dumpling runs away she just
that
eats
just
him.
happened? And it was like, it's all like a metaphor or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, that was kind of like
Angus, what is your top part, apart from the fact that Frozone is clearly the coolest character of all time?
And you can really see his abs in this movie. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but every time he was on, I'm like, he's like very defined here. Like
Samuel L. Jackson has definitely bribed someone.
I'd have to say Jack, just because the amount of like gags and humor and stuff that came out of it.
That raccoon fight was awesome.
Was great, yeah.
Loved it.
Really
and like it was just a thrill to see the kids so entertained by the film as well. Like, because I know like a lot of the young kids, they probably wouldn't have grown up with The Incredibles.
Yeah,
but like just seeing Jack as that character and like beautifully animated as well. Like, for a character that doesn't speak at all, his like motivations and everything was so clear. It was very good.
You know what,
and
I
just
really
played off the rest of the family so well. How they have to like, because they still act as a family, like, oh, who's going to look after the baby, and they're always fighting about who has to look after the baby and who gets
the baby
to
can
go
just
out
like swap into the fourth dimension. And float around
that kind of
like
stuff.
That.
Like, and when Jack goes to Edna's place and then like mimics Edna as it was
really
gross.
good bit where he goes to Edna's is when they're getting through the door. And he puts Jack's handprint.
Yeah.
And then he puts the thing, and then he's like, "How about that?"
It's like voice recognition. Blah, 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 blah.
That bit was really good.
No, I absolutely like Jack because he's one of those characters that, in a lot of animated films, there's a character that's meant to be cute, and it's just really baby fed and thrown in your face. Like, they're small, they've got massive eyes. In Finding Nemo, it's like the kid turtle.
Yeah.
In Finding Dory, it's
The kid turtle.
the kid baby Finding Dory, whatever.
Yeah, like
Anyway,
yeah.
in a lot
yeah.
of films, there's always just like that. It's too obvious. In Spaghetti and Meatballs,
Lovable
there's like,
sidekick.
in Spaghetti and Meatballs, there's a little strawberry baby kid, and it's anyway. I love that in this they made Jack really cute without me feeling like
Yeah.
his character exists specifically to be cute.
And he's a
enjoyed it,
three-dimensional
yeah.
character,
Yeah, really liked it.
Or a 4-dimensional.
Or a four-dimensional character.
Boy, Brody, I bloody see what you did there.
Yeah. Broadman, we'll start with you, since as you did not like this movie very much. What was your absolute negative, most negative thing about the film?
It was all completely predictable to me.
Yeah. Fair.
Yes,
Fair.
every single plot point, I was like, this is what happened. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This is what happened.
The problem with this,
I don't
like,
disagree.
is
I'm
it
looking at you because you've taken my only negative.
also mine.
Most of the humor was lost on me. There was, as usual, a part in this film where I was the only one in the entire cinema that laughed,
Yes.
which has been a running thing for the last.
Do you
two
remember
podcasts.
what it was this
hold on.
time?
We need to come up with a name for this segment now. It's got to be. It's the segment that is things only Brody laughed at.
Brody's above everyone else.
Maybe not. It sounds a bit pretentious.
It was just like a throwaway line that Dash said, and I have no idea. Like as per usual, I have no idea what he said. But it was just a throwaway line. The Dash said something, and I went,
my most negative thing, fairly similar to yours, was the reveal that the sister was the bad guy all along. Like, I know I guess you gotta cut it some slack because it is a kids film.
Yeah.
So like, it has to be kind of noticeable, so that, because like, if you put yourself in kids' shoes and you figure out that she's a bad guy, and then they tell you she's a bad guy, you gotta feel pretty proud. Like, so I understand why they did it and why it was so like.
Also,
It's a callback to when most people called Syndrome, and then when it was Syndrome, you're like, oh yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
what happened to the Underminer?
Stop
Well,
taking
yeah.
my negatives. I haven't gone
That's
yet.
true. Yeah.
There's like,
yeah.
nope, he's just gone.
He's just gone. Yeah.
We talked about this last time. You're only allowed one because when you start listing them off, you start listing ours. Since we all agree that this was very predictable, I think something that wasn't as big an opportunity in the first Incredibles film for Mr. Incredible, I feel like the superheroes were dumb in this. Specifically, Elastigirl, she's meant to be the more intelligent out of the couple. And the bad guy consistently talks about, like, you know, how nobody uses the technology the way she would use it. And part of her conversation is word for word part of the evil monologue that's broadcast. In the first Incredibles film, it makes sense for Mr. Incredible not really to figure out Syndrome because it's a kid from like 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
that
And it's
he
kind of a
wouldn't-
psycho
He wouldn't
that's,
think
like,
he had like one or two
unpredictable, yeah.
interactions with. In this, she was consistently having a conversation with someone who invents technology.
Yeah.
And the bad guy always knew where she was, and she literally invented the camera on her suit. Like, all of that stuff, I feel like Elastigirl should have figured it out.
Yeah,
As
and
fast as we did.
Again, like, you do have to cut it a bit of slack because it is like a kids film.
I agree.
And like, I feel like the kids, like, Elastigirl kind of has to dumb down to an adolescent level so that if kids figure it out, they're going to feel proud.
What I would have
thing. So,
preferred, and they did this a little bit because I don't know about you guys, but before we met the sister, because we meet the sister about 5 minutes into a conversation with the guy, the brother, I was like, okay, the brother's a villain.
I was very much,
I wish
very much,
they'd-
they're going to be the bad
I
guys.
wish they'd played that off a bit more, where instead of meeting the sister so early, he sort of mentions his sister as an inventor, as an off comment, and then, like, you know, leads keep leading to it being him.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's a few off comments or off mentions of him having a sister, and then we meet the sister sort of later, and then we realise she's the villain.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Mr. Incredible's character arc as well. Just like coming to terms with like not being able to do anything because like that was his main struggle in the first place was not being able to do something, and like he still has to come to terms with it. But it's like
I think there's something raw and relatable that'll be there for sort of parents that go see this, especially for
all
fathers.
those dads taking the birthday parties to the cinemas.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
With
you don't
the 5
like,
o'clock shadow, just like
the metaphor
Where
is
is your
that
brother?
he used to be a superhero. He was Mr. Incredible, but like, you know, growing up through glory days of, like, you know, being a young buck on the town with his mates, and now you're a father taking
king.
taking your shitty
The quarterback.
Yeah. Now you're a shitty dad taking your shitty kid to a shitty film. Like, you know,
and you're on your phone the entire time. They got flashing light
you're a
of shoes.
shitty film. Your shit kid's got his shitty shoes on. But I think there's something...
Jordan really keeping his feelings to himself.
But no, I think there's something relatable about him being like, you know, I was Mr. Incredible and now I'm a dad that's cleaning up vomit.
I really enjoyed it.
And Edna Mode saying, like, you know, being a parent is a heroic act in itself if it's done right. I think that whole arc is entertaining to watch, but also very relatable, whether you have superpowers or whether you just have a good ego from the glory days.
I think it completely makes sense for the world and for the characters, but the problem is the world and the characters is 14 years old. That's my big thing. It's like, if this came out in 2008,
it would have been like
after,
revolutionary as well.
It would have been like, this is a great film. This is a fine film and everything. But it's like, it's coming out in like 2018, and it's just like.
In the backstory of the villain and her brother, the dad really likes superheroes, and then has direct
very
telephones
convoluted backstory there
to two superheroes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure those two superheroes die because of their capes. Is that right? In their first one?
Really?
Maybe.
I have a feeling they do.
If you could remember the names, then I'd check it out.
Because I'm pretty sure one was like Thunderhead, who got sucked into a plane, and Thunder.
I'm not sure because they do specifically say that one superhero has become illegal. They didn't pick up.
Yeah, which kind of made me second guess it, because I'm fairly sure a lot were killed in action because of their capes.
It was weird that the villain, she gets like thrown out of the plane, and Elastigirl like crashes the plane, and then she also flings herself out and saves the villain midair, and then the villain decides that she'd rather die.
Yeah,
than she saved him.
That was pretty dark.
I was just like, this is just one of those like, I'm evil, so I need to do evil things now. It was one of those things where it's like,
I'd rather die than get saved.
Just because she's evil doesn't mean she wants to die.
Yeah.
It's like, that is just such a ridiculous...
It's pretty brutal.
Thought. I was like, really didn't like that.
I guess say yours, I've got some to remember now.
The one thing that I did just want to touch on, we mentioned it earlier in the podcast, was about the jump scare. I'm just going to tell you guys when the jump scare was. You'll know it is when Elastigirl goes into the apartment, and
I was going to talk about the apartment scene. That whole scene was incredible.
That whole scene was quite scary though. Which
incredible, you say, Jordan?
Incredible too.
Incredible.
That whole scene, like I enjoyed it. But I thought maybe that part was probably a bit too dark for kids as well, and like quite a lot of kids they'd kind of jumped and
monologue
screamed.
that happens at that sort of while she's tracking down that signal, and it's sort of hard to listen to because you're watching what's happening with Elastigirl, but it talks about, like, you know, the only reason you guys want heroes is so you don't have to experience things that are terrifying.
Yeah.
You watch, like, you know, you watch reality TV shows about love at home so you don't have to experience love. You watch reality TV shows at home about fear so you don't have to go out and experience fear. And it's like, she's getting a bit heavy for a kid's film. Like, there are elements in truth in that monologue that's terrifying, which is like, these days everybody just stays at home and tries to experience things by other people experiencing it on TV. And she gives this monologue. I'm like, this is really dark.
Yeah.
That was great. That whole scene was great. It felt
visually it looked really cool.
Visually it was great.
But it was just like with everything else. I was just like, well, this is gonna happen. And I was like, this is gonna happen.
Cool. All right. I think we've said all that needs to be said within this half-hour podcast. Cane Dogs, do you have an idea of what we can do to close?
I've been thinking about it for 3 days, and you know what?
What?
I don't.
You don't?
The only thing I'm like, we could come up with superheroes, but I'm pretty sure we did that for one of the Marvel films.
Yeah.
I have one.
So go for it.
What piece of tech would you want if you were a super? As in, like, the Incredible or the Elastabike.
So a bit of tech, like a
what kind of
side?
I guess it comes down to what type of superhero you're going to be. So Brody,
can we give each other powers, and then we have to
go for it?
Yeah. Okay, Cane Dogs, your superpower.
There's gonna be like you can fucking turn milk into bread.
You're the cheese.
That's actually pretty.
All right, you know what? Keep it.
No.
Cane Dogs, I'm going to give you the power of foresight.
Brody, you have the ability only specifically to silence your movement and your breathing. So I'm thinking more of a stealth type deal. So you can make any noise you make so people can't hear your footsteps. If you jump from like a slightly tall wall, yeah, and you break your arm and you scream, no one hears you.
That was a really good visual joke.
That was a
That
a great visual joke.
If you jump and you land, like nobody hears your shoes or anything like that. So you can choose to make.
So don't pick an electric drill or something as your tech.
Yeah. So So I'm giving you the ability.
That sounds like an electric drill that no one's holding on to.
He's like, hang on. No, I can't hear anyone breathing.
Yeah. So
Angus.
My superhero name is the Quiverer.
I like to think that your superhero
Okay.
name is Angus.
If that points you in any direction.
Sure thing. Angus.
Hold on, can I just clarify? Quiver as in a bow and arrow quiver, or quiver as
That's
in
just my
like
name, man.
a
That's just my
quivery
name.
top lip?
You don't know me.
So Angus.
I mean, I've known you since I was 4, but
can
you know.
can manipulate temperature and make it really hot and really cool.
To the point of lethalness? Lethality? To the point of it being lethal?
It takes a bit of concentration, but yeah, he can freeze stuff
That's kind of
Nice one.
cool.
and
I like that.
I like to think
make
that...
people
Heat.
quiver.
Can I heat stuff?
Only to the point of unfreezing it. You can't cook stuff.
Ah, damn. Okay. Because I was going to be like, I choose a frying pan then. Because then I'm always set to cook something.
Right.
No, okay, Cane Dogs, what is your item? Your
So-
superhero gadget.
So my powers, I can see
You can
10 seconds into the future by choice.
Yep.
And I'm not going to just go with a very specific character's already choice of weapon, which by
I
the
would
way
choose a
is-
gun.
It's like a paper.
I'd just choose a gun. I think that would be the best.
We all choose a gun.
Thank you for listening to the Film Slice podcast. You can reach us on Instagram at Film Slice Pod. You can reach us on Twitter at film_slice_pod.
That's true, Angus.
You can reach us
Sometimes
on
you can reach us on
YouTube.
Twitter.
You can reach us on iTunes.
iTunes.
Maybe leave a review for us. I don't know.
Yeah, give us.
I don't know. You do
you
you,
what,
man.
mate. You do you.
You bloody do
Yeah.
you.